Greetings and welcome back to another weekend rant. Yeah, and it's actually the weekend. I think the last weekend rant, I did it on a weekend, but I released it during the week. So it'll be a weekend rant just because it's maybe be recorded on the weekend, but I don't know when I'll release it because the only time I have to record it is on the weekends. Anyway, I'm confusing you and I'm confusing me. This week, you'll notice that I'm skipping weeks because in the podcast world, I have 3 podcasts, and I just can't do one, like, I can't do 3 on weekends, and so some of them take priority over the others. Anyway, I got a couple things that I do wanna talk about. Number 1, we're gonna talk about something that I talked about a long time ago. About 6 months ago, I was on Reddit, and I got banned on a sub, and I don't remember the sub. I think it was, dating, something about dating. It was dating, online dating over something to do with dating, and I don't and I was furious because each sub has their own set of rules. If you don't really read those rules carefully and, like, let's talk about, like, Facebook or Instagram. Like, when you go to post something, do you really sit down and read the terms of service or look at Facebook's rules? I mean, obviously, we know on Facebook you can't post nudity, you can't post derogatory, hateful comments. So some of the stuff that we really know in the real world that you just can't get on Facebook and start, calling out names and saying he's a Nazi and they're a racist, nor can you do revenge things. So it's just understood. But in Reddit, it's not. There are hundreds of thousands of Reddit groups. So they're called subs, right? And each one, some of them are so extreme that, like, they're pornographic in detail, way over the top, and there's virtually no rules. And then you get all the way down to some things where it could be something like off my chest, just like get something off my chest where people can go on. They have one now called "Scream into the Void," or it's just and what if you look at some of the rules? It is no judging, and you can't laugh at that person, and some of them I get. But here's my point: if you're on Reddit and you want to participate in a conversation that's going on, so like you're going through your feed and somebody posts something because you maybe liked that or joined that sub or showed interest, because just like Facebook and Instagram, it's got an algorithm and it's going to show you the stuff that you like or that you've seen before. I don't stop to look at what the rules are for that sub. So 6 months ago, I posted something and I didn't post something correctly. I don't remember what it was. It was so insignificant, but at the time, I was upset about it. And then I realized I don't give a shit. First of all, I have 5 Reddit profiles. I use 2. So 3 of them are kind of dormant. And what Reddit will do is when you get banned from a sub, it'll say to you, don't even try to circumvent this ban. Like, don't go create a new account and then try to join this sub again and post, because we will find out. And if we catch you doing that, we will ban you from Reddit altogether. And I would like them to, I don't know if they've actually ever done that to anybody, because in today's world, you have VPNs, you have emails, unique emails. There's so many different ways to hide your identity online that, not that Reddit isn't a big enough company with the resources, but is it really important to, if they ban somebody from a sub, is it really that important to like, I know that I have enough profiles and a VPN that I could be posting from, I don't know, Singapore, and are they really going to catch that it was me from another profile? Anyway, the problem is that I got banned again under a different profile and under a different sub. And this one, I did nothing wrong. I was completely just commenting back on something to somebody. And the next thing I know, I got banned. And it was like not a suspension. Folks, Reddit, especially Reddit. I want you to hear this, Reddit. What is this with this automatic ban? Especially, I can understand if I went on there. Let's say somebody went on there and they were pouring their heart out because I don't know, their husband beat them, and and I go in there and go boo hoo, and I make fun of her or him, and I put them down, and clearly in the rules it says, be kind, be respectful. And if I go in there and I do something really horrible, I could understand that would be a grave violation of just forget Reddit rules, human decency. But this particular post, and I just tried to pull it up. It's been a couple of weeks, and I think I deleted the message that when they banned me, I just deleted it. I said, "Fuck you." I said, I don't give a shit. And I don't even remember the sub, which is a problem, because if you don't remember the sub you're banned from and you try to post in there, I think they'll tell you that you're banned from posting in there, so you can't get in trouble. Anyway, I started this boycott of Reddit sponsors. You know what's interesting? That fell flat on its face. Nobody even paid attention to that. Nobody's gonna boycott Reddit sponsors. But I noticed in the not ChatGPT, in the character AI sub, and there's a whole bunch of AI subs now, artificial intelligence, that there is a character AI that they're getting angry that they're making people now validate their age. So this sexual NSFW content for AI, where people are going on and creating pornographic images and creating role plays. They're now by law, or I don't know if it's state by state, but they want you to verify your age. And so by doing that, you have to upload your driver's license or something to verify your age. And people are saying, no, we're not going to do that. They're revolting. So this whole thing going on Reddit in the character AI that is called AI Revolution. And it's gotten some traction. People are starting to. So there's two things they're doing. They're boycotting something. They're boycotting character AI, and they're deleting it. They're asking people to all band together and delete and unsubscribe from character AI, because they don't want to have to prove that they're an adult. And folks, we've already had this conversation with porn sites. Porn sites now around the country are popping up in each state where you have to verify that you're an adult. Why is that such a problem? When I was growing up, I couldn't buy beer until I was 18. Now it's 21, but when I was growing up, it was 18. I couldn't buy cigarettes. I couldn't drive a car. You have to be an adult to do certain things in this country. And now we're in 2026, where we have artificial intelligence that can basically produce really some wacky, wild stuff out there. And they don't want minors getting in there and doing this. Now, we all know from growing up that minors have workarounds, because I stood outside the deli when I was 16 and begged the guy that went in to buy a six-pack, "Hey, buddy, would you buy me a six-pack? I'll throw you an extra 20. Whatever. I did that. I did that for beer. I did that for cigarettes. I did that, bought fake IDs to get into bars. So minors are going to do what they're going to do to get past whatever it is. So these AI sites that are verifying minors to make sure that they're not getting in, they're going to get in. It's not perfect. Anyway, I'm ranting. So a lot of you don't even either go on Reddit or go on the character AI. That's an actual an AI, artificial intelligence platform, where you can have virtual sex with somebody, with pictures and videos, and it's all. You've heard about these artificial girlfriends and boyfriends. Well, that's what we're talking about here. And the people are just angry that they have to verify that they're an adult in order to continue. I don't have a problem with that, but I just find it interesting that they're revolting. And I don't know why. Prove you're an adult, be done with it, and go on and have your fun. Number 2. So I got on here, I think it was the last rant or the rant before this, and I said that, and I'm going to call them out, I had Optimum Online, cable, internet, right? So I'm here on the East Coast. I'm in the New York tri-state area, New York, Connecticut, New Jersey area, and Optimum is dominant in this area. And although now Spectrum and Verizon and a couple of the other ones are coming in, even T-Mobile's starting to come into the homes. But whatever, the two big ones are Verizon and Optimum. And Optimum was charging me $100 a month just for cable, not TV. I'm sorry, not cable, for internet service, just so I can log on and browse the internet, do my podcasting, and blah, blah, blah. And they wanted $100 a month. And I called them month after month and said, too much, too much, too much. You got to lower my bill. And they wouldn't lower it or unless I bought a cell phone from them. If you buy a cell phone from us and bring your service over, we'll give you a year free internet or something. They were bribing me or extorting me. And I said, no, this is not how it works. Plus, I was with Verizon cell phone for 20 years and I like them and I'm happy with them. Yes, you pay a little bit more, but you're paying for a good service. Verizon has the best network. So Optimum is off the T-Mobile network, and I was not going to go on T-Mobile. Anyway, I then went and got a new iPhone 17, the Apple, and this was just recently. And when I was there, I said to them, how much would it cost if you came in and gave me internet on Verizon? I would like a Verizon in-home and get rid of Optimum. And they said, hey, we'll do it for like $45 a month. And I was paying 100 with Optimums. This is all in my last rant. You can hear it. So we set it up, and they came and they swapped it out. Optimum is gone. All right, I now have Verizon, and this is going to sound weird. I think I made a mistake. Optimum, and I got to be careful how I say this. For the past 6 weeks, I've had nothing but problems with Verizon. It's slow. It buffered all my streaming devices. I wasn't getting text messages through my cell phone, the Wi-Fi. Excuse me. Yeah, I was just not happy with their service. So I finally 2 nights ago called them and I said, I got to be honest, I'm not happy. And they do have a 30-day money back guarantee or something where they'll whatever. I was just within the 30 days. So I called them and I got some woman on the phone, and we have Verizon at work. So I'm familiar with Verizon. I just said to the lady, don't treat me like a consumer. I'm an IT guy. I have your service at my job, Fios it's called. I said, I'm telling you now, there's a problem with the router. There's a problem with your service. And of course, they pinged it and they sent signals to it and they said, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. So we did a Verizon speed test and it failed. So Verizon speed test is when they test your speed, uploads and downloads, and it failed. That's when the technician on the phone said, okay, I do see a problem. And long story short was IPv6. If you know anything about the protocols, since 1990, we've been using IPv4. It's a type of protocol for your TCP/IP, and they've introduced IPv6 a couple of years ago, but nobody's using it except some of the very brand new devices, and you have to set it up a certain way. But they're all building it into the routers and IPv6, and they're turning it on. So I have a Mac, right? My computer's a Mac, and my LG TVs are smart TVs, but they're 3-4 years old, and they're not designed to work with IPv6. Also, the cell phones are not designed. Even though I have a new cell, they're just not designed that way. So Verizon routers are sending out IPv6 signals and protocols, and it's confusing why I had the problem and nobody else is, because this woman did not know this. You know where I found this out from? From ChatGPT, because she couldn't figure it out. She sent some signal to my router to reset it, and then she said, and she got it to work. She said to me, because what I was having was like I was watching Paramount, I was watching Netflix, and it was buffering and buffering and buffering. So you were in the middle of a show, and all of a sudden it would stop. It would buffer. It's annoying. You're in the middle of a movie, and you can't finish it. Anyway, the woman reset my modem, and it seemed to have worked. But I went to ChatGPT that night, and I said, I don't trust this. I think that tomorrow morning I'm going to be right back where I started from. So we got into the router and we turned off the IPv6 protocol, just turned it off. And ever since I did that, all of my Verizon has been fine. It's been like perfect. I'm getting uploads and downloads, and all my devices are working, and blah blah blah. So I just wanted to give you an update on that. And now I'm going to bring something up that is really disturbing. So you may want to tune out if this is going to get it's going to get deep. You probably, if you've been watching Netflix over the last couple of years, heard of a series called Baby Reindeer, okay? And I've heard of it, and I wasn't interested in watching it when it first came out. And on Reddit a couple days ago, I came across a post where a woman said that when she got to episode 4 of Baby Reindeer, that she was so disgusted by it that she had to stop it and leave the house and go take a walk. And that when she came back, she couldn't finish it and she had to wait a couple days and blah, blah, blah. And that got my curiosity. I was like, what's so bad in episode 4 that this woman got triggered? And a couple of other people jumped in and said, yeah, it's a hard episode to watch. So it really piqued my attention. And I said, all right, let me give this a shot. So I had to sit through episodes 1, 2, and 3, and it was interesting. And if you know anything about Baby Reindeer, this is a spoiler. Some guy in, I think it's England, London, or Britain, I don't know, whatever, over there, he gets stalked by a woman. She's a heavy-set woman, and apparently she walks into a bar one day and sees him, and she starts falling in love with him. But that's not really the whole story. What happens, and I'm going to tell you, what happens in episode 4 out of nowhere. So this guy is a comedian, right? The main actor is a comedian, a failing comedian. He's trying to get a gig in these pubs around London, and he's failing. All of a sudden, episode 4, he goes to Scotland and Edinburgh, I think. Some guy that is like a producer for movies and actors who he says, yeah, I can get you contracts. And long story short is he had him come over the house and they would do some comedy and they would drink. And then as they were drinking, one day he slipped them GBH, which is a date rape drug. And he kept slipping them. First, he introduced them to cocaine. He introduced them to crystal meth and crack. And then one day he just got him on a date rape drug. And obviously he raped him. He anally raped him. And this is this horrible scene. Now, it wasn't graphic, but it was graphic enough where I could see people might have a problem with it because it's showing one person giving another person a drug that makes them incapacitated, and then they can take advantage of them. And this is a television series, and people were all up in arms about this. Hey, folks, this goes on every single day, all day long around the world. It's called human trafficking, and it's called rape, and it's called kidnap these women, get them hooked on drugs, and sell them to the highest bidder. And it's going on in the United Arab Emirates to the princes and the high oil people. It's going on in Asia and the Philippines and even here in America. And it's going on in South America. It's going on all over the world. So why is this one episode in Baby Reindeer so horrible that when you people watch this, you're like, wake up, listen to my other podcast, Cultimatum, The Culture of Cults and Human Trafficking. I cover this stuff in my other podcasts. Human trafficking is real, and it's going on all over the world. People are getting kidnapped. Young women who are they answer ads like, we're going to give you, you're going to become an actor, or we're going to ship you over to United Arab Emirates as the prince wants. They promise them that they can walk around on yachts in their bikinis and but in the long run, they rape these women. And a lot of them, they discard. They throw them overboard. Literally, it's happening. And if it's not that, it's going on in Asia, and it's children too. So what was so horrible? This guy in Baby Reindeer, he got raped one night, and he knew it. The next morning, he woke up and his asshole was hurting. But he knew what happened. He realized what had happened, that this guy drugged him. You know what? He came back the next night and every night after because he thought that he was getting a contract to a comedy something like a movie or a comedy series, and this guy was just grooming him or getting him, taking advantage of him. I don't get, there's a big nuance difference here. This guy came back willingly. He went up to this guy's apartment willingly, and he took the GBH drug willingly, and the crack and the meth. And because the guy, I get it, the guy kept promising him something, but here, hang out, we'll talk about it. But it's like a business meeting, but let's relax with some drugs and alcohol. We'll have the meeting. And so he was tricked into it. I get it. But this happens to young women and children all over the world every day. It's not once in a while. It is going on all the time. So, to all the baby reindeer people out there that thought episode 4 was just horrible, please take a look at what's going on in the world. When those Amber Alerts go off in your community and a 14-year-old Latina girl or 14-year-old whatever young woman is kidnapped or missing, I shouldn't say kidnapped, is missing, and an Amber Alert goes up, most likely that woman is on her way to Asia. Please, this one got me really riled up because some actor on TV portrayed a poor man who got raped because he was promised a comedy show. Please, there are people out there that are unaware of what. So I'm gonna not get angry over this one, but if all of my rants, this one really got me the most because it's happening to real people in the world every day, in every neighborhood, in every community. You just turn the news on one day during this month, and you will find somebody missing. I'm in the New York area, and every day we have an Amber Alert. Somebody's missing. Those people are gone. They're already on a boat. They're already on a way to like somewhere out in Europe or Asia or whatever. All right, it's a weekend and I'm got a lot of editing to do, but I just wanted to jump on there with another update. And I'm thinking I'm gonna blog on this one. I haven't blogged in a while. So anyway, Anonymous Andrew, listen, I got the Cult of Maiden podcast is doing really, really well, but I would like the weekend rant to start getting momentum. So if you're listening, if you're one of the few, which I know, I see the numbers, please just leave a review and follow and subscribe. And it doesn't cost you a dime. All right. I got a couple commercials on there, but believe me, they pay me like 20 cents. It's nothing. I'm not asking for anything other than a review. If you like my rants, whatever, and I'm also putting these on YouTube when I get around to it. So, all right, Anonymous Andrew, I'm gonna say goodbye, and we'll talk next week with something else. Something else will pop into my head, and I'll rant about it. Until then, ciao.